It's me.
Weak.
No! No! No!
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mozette, and here's your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mozette, and welcome 12s to episode 412 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show as your Seattle Seahawks get ready to take on the bye week. So sit back, relax, grab a desired beverage or center your choice, and remember, as Cage the Elephant reminds us, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Love that song. Let's meet the posse for this episode. From the state of Washington, our own news hound. His 12-man editorials can be found on the SeahawksSal.com website. You know him as Shadowhawk Will. We know him as Will, without Shadowhawk, or something.
Hi, Moses.
Hi, Will.
I gotta say, a little nervous about this week. I just hope we can pull through it okay with no further injuries.
Oh, gosh, yes. Let's put them all in bubble wrap and just leave them at the VMAC. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Also from the state of Washington, an acorn among the mighty oaks. We call him Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey, guys. I'm wondering how this week's going to go. You know, I think it was last year when Russell went out on vacation with Sierra in Mexico and people were freaking out.
Yep.
Imagine if he's not at the VMAC rehabbing, at least 19 hours a day, what people are going to do if they find out he actually has any kind of fun over the break.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
How dare you?
He has a life. Kill him.
Speaking of having a life, we have some bad news right now from merry old England. Partner in crime, Ying to my Yang, Matt from merry old England, was having technical difficulties, could not join us this evening. We're blaming the Hurricane Matthew, which is ironic because it would be the Hurricane Matthew that would keep Matthew from being on the show. Mm-hmm. We don't know for sure, but he is having technical difficulties, so Matt's listening, I know, and he will be on the next show, hopefully, for sure. Or we'll see.
Either thank Hurricane Matthew or Obama. One of them, right?
You can blame Obama. Everyone else does. I mean, you might as well.
I'd blame everyone.
I blame everyone, and blame everyone for a stupid bye week. Which reminds me, it's the bye week, so you know what that means. NSYNC's going to be joining us. That's right, baby. Back when Justin Timberlake had blonde, curly hair. Oh, yeah, guys. You're going to hear this all night. NSYNC in the bye week. Get ready.
We knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah.
Joey Fontaine before he got eaten by a shark.
These things happen.
Oh.
I've been working on my dance routine just for this show, so.
That's awesome. Thank you, NSYNC. So NSYNC's taking the place of Matt, so we'll be just fine. Gentlemen, let's get to this show. It's run like a real NFL football game. 4 quarters and a halftime. Quarter 1, of course. We're going to talk a little bit about 12-Man Fan Jam Show meetup for next week's show, and of course, Will with the news. Quarter 2, we're going to discuss the Seahawks victory of the Jets, a special Caption That Picture, and we're going to see how we did on last week's predictions. Halftime, of course, the best Seahawk-themed play-along game on the internet, 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia, and it'll be obviously without the champion, so Matt cannot
we'll have to have an interim champion.
Yes, we'll have an interim, and then we'll go at it next week. Quarter 3, we'll talk about how the Seahawks have looked after 4 games. And quarter 4, a special bye-week top 3, and we play a game of truth or crap. But before we start all that, like, share, subscribe, Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join us on our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Twitter, Seahawk Positivity. Email, 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. Now let's talk a little bit about the first annual 12-Man Fan Jam Show meetup, which happens on the 15th of October, which is a week from Saturday as we're recording this. As I mentioned before, Little Mo and I are headed to the beautiful Pacific Northwest for the Falcons game, and we want to see you and let you be a part of a live recording of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. All you have to do is just show up. Just show up. On Saturday, October 15th at noon, we're going to meet at the Seattle Center at the Armory. We'd love you to stop by and say hi. We're going to eat lunch. We're going to talk, a little fellowship, a little fun. And then after we're done eating and we're ready, we're going to attempt to broadcast our first ever live 12-Man Fan Jam Show over YouTube. We want you to sit in with us and join us. I know Statsman Mark's going to be there. I think Will and Dustin are tentative. We don't know for sure, guys.
I'm in.
Will's going?
Yep.
Will's going. I know Dustin's got football, so he may or may not go.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on the playoff schedule, so
Understood.
we should find out
Playoffs?
next week. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Playoffs for his kids. We're hoping to get Matt from Merry Old England thanks to the magic of Skype, but we'll see. And invite anyone who might be interested. Everyone's welcome. Stop by, say hi. I'd love to see you all. All right. Hopefully at that, by the way, we'll have a news article from Will. We'll caption a picture. We'll do have some trivia, halftime trivia. We'll have our predictions, prognostications, to scores, and game balls for the upcoming Falcons game. We'd love to see you there. But all that, it's going to be a quick show probably when we do it live. But it will be a show. And speaking of shows, let's start the first quarter of this show with Shadowhawk Will and the news. That's right, news while you were out buying things that you've been not buying because it's the bye week and you got time, and doing all that redecorating the house and getting to meet your neighbors and friends again. This is the news with Shadowhawk Will. Will, what you got for us?
Well, Moses, one thing that you and I and Dustin and Matt always have to be careful about when doing this show is making sure our mic isn't on when we're going to the bathroom.
It's never happened.
No kidding.
Because
Really?
as Donald Trump found out today, doing anything wrong with a hot mic is just a bad idea. But he was not the only one. Referee Pete Morelli had a similar incident during the Bills-Patriots game last Sunday.
No way. Really?
Yes, he did. During what he thought was a private conversation with another official, Morelli accidentally left his mic on, saying, quote, "Turned into a pretty good game, but one big hit, this shit could explode." Luckily for Morelli, the TV broadcast was in a commercial break at the time. However, everybody actually at the stadium could hear him loud and clear.
That sort of reminds me of that Aaron Rodgers commercial.
Just a bit. But since it did not go out over the airwaves, he doesn't have to worry about a fine or a suspension. The league is going to address it internally, but you can bet he will be much more careful with his mic in the future.
So funny.
Should we now, Dustin?
Yeah.
You're not Matt. Dustin,
True.
should we share our story of why we're kind of saying you should always mute your mic, ha ha ha.
Yeah, have at it. Go for it.
That
man.
was you, was it not?
It was me.
Yeah. We used to do another show, another program, and one time Dustin had to go to the bathroom and didn't mute his mic, and he had drinking a lot of water, apparently. I don't know.
Just picture the scene from Naked Gun, and you're pretty much there.
Pretty much, and it was very awkward, but we called Dustin Seabiscuit from that moment on. But it was quite terrible. That's some bad news. Someone needs to mute his mic. That referee needs to mute his mic. Will, what's your next story?
Well, back in the good old days, it used to be the worst thing about going to a game at FedEx Field in Washington D.C. was having to watch the Redskins play. But now there's actually a new problem: bees. If you go on Twitter, if you read some articles and whatnot, there are a lot of people at Redskins games complaining about the bees. Dan Steinberg, writer for the Washington Post, mentioned that he went to a wedding at FedEx Field earlier this year, but saying the only problems with the wedding were the bees. They were everywhere, every 5 minutes. You'd have to brush away a bee or even sprint away from one. Plus, they wore Steelers colors, so tacky.
That's what I was going to say. It must be those Steelers throwbacks.
And once that story broke, several readers wrote into Mr. Steinberg with similar complaints. Literally, around 5 to 10 bees flying around every week in this section at FedEx Field, said one. FedEx Field is covered with bees, said another. We park in the green lot right off Bright Street Road, and from the woods to at least the upper sections, there are bees everywhere. My friend's tongue got stung by one that invaded his beverage. So, there are a lot of issues with bees. A spokesman for the Redskins said, quote, We are aware of the situation and are working on an eco-friendly ways to limit the bee population on game day.
I think they're coming this way. Well,
Yeah.
I got my fly swatter. I'm ready
oh my
for 'em.
God!
Yeah. Fly
Oh my
swatters
God.
are eco-friendly.
They moved them out. They're coming this way.
Do you have that audio clip of Nicolas Cage from the Wicker Man remake where they're dumping bees on him when they're killing him?
I forgot about that.
That would be beautiful. I do not.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Oh God, that would be beautiful. Bees.
That's right, biatch.
Now come on. Don't be carried away with that.
Okay.
I won't. Sorry, guys.
Hey, you know what else starts with B?
Bye week?
Beautiful.
Bye week, baby. That starts with a B. You know you're dancing.
Yeah. I practiced.
We go
it,
live
remember?
to Dustin's webcam.
You gotta admit, you're dancing this right now.
Yeah,
Actually,
of course.
I'm sitting down with my feet up right now. But sure.
All right.
You can do the hand gesture.
You dang on right. All right. Well, I guess it's time to say bye to the news. Will, thank you for another fantastic news section.
You're quite welcome.
And that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up on this special edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam show, lots of show, halftime trivia. But coming up next, we'll talk about last week's Seahawk victory over the Jets, and we'll caption a picture. We'll be right back after this, and a recap of the game from Statsman Mark in Mark's Remarks.
Hi, I'm Rosette, and you are listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam show. Dad, I need more money.
What for now?
Look, do you want me to graduate or not?
Okay, let me get my wallet. And now the 12-Man Fan Jam show proudly presents another installment of Statsman Mark's Remarks.
Hey everybody, this is the Statsman with his remarks concerning the big win, road win over the Nueva York Jets. And wow, I mean, not much could go better in this game than what took place on the field. Russell Wilson, outstanding, 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. Yours truly benched him for fantasy last week. Christine Michael, some hard-nosed running yards, again, even a few receptions. Offensive line, of course, work in progress has been the phrase for quite a while now, but I like this group. It's developing, I think. A couple of the guys, Sowell and Gilliam, are iffy, but Justin Britt's found home at center. And Infetti, which is the first time I've said that name correctly, I think, and Glowinski are looking really good. Defensively, again, lights out. The weirdest, I was reminded of decades past Seahawk games with a fumble, strip sack fumble, and then it's returned 42 yards or whatever the heck went on in that play. But the game was not even as close as the score indicated. It was much more of a 17-point margin victory. Never in doubt. We look great. We have a bye. The timing couldn't be better, it turns out. And then I'm flying up, folks, to watch Atlanta.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Yes, welcome to the second quarter of episode 412 of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. It's time to review last week's Seahawk victory over the Jets, 27-17. Oh my God! The bees are back! Bad bees! Sorry. I apologize for that. The bees came flying back on me. It was 27-17 victory for the Seahawks last week, and it was in New York, which is close to Washington. And we had bees coming from everywhere, but we were able to be victorious. All right. In Mark's remarks, he said he liked the offensive line, how it's gelling, especially Justin Britt, which I read was the highest grade at center this week for any player which at that position, which is amazing. Will, what are your thoughts offensively about this game?
Well, Moses, if you had told me 2 months ago that Justin Britt's move to center would be as resounding a success as it has been, I would have thought you were drunk. But that has got to be the most pleasant surprise of the year so far. It's just finding a home for Britt where he can actually be productive. Be productive. It was great to see Ifedi back too. I mean, I thought he had a great first game. Definitely some stuff to work on, but the potential is there, and he's I think really going to be big for us. And what else? What can you say about it? If you watch that game and still have any skepticism about Russell Wilson's ability or toughness or pretty much anything, then I don't know what else to tell you. You've reached Pete Prisco levels of delusion. That was one of the gutsiest performances I've seen in a long time. And Jimmy Graham, I was so impressed by our offense, start to finish this whole game.
Yes,
and it was literally everything I wanted to see out of that game.
Absolutely. I mentioned in our 12-man Fan Jam show we have a game day thread, and I said that's it. I'm buying a Graham jersey next week. I've been waiting for this moment. Ever since we got him, the idea of him with this offense has just been mind-boggling. And the rest of the NFL has to be crapping their pants right now because they see what Graham is doing with half of Russell Wilson. And now Russell's going to get 2 weeks to heal up. You know, to me, Dustin, Russell looked fine, except when he scrambled, he didn't scramble like Russell scrambles. He still did okay, but to me, aside from scrambling, I didn't see any issues. Did you?
Not at all. I mean, the long ball was there this week. He was able to plant and push off and throw the ball accurately down the field, which he couldn't the week before for the most part.
Right.
He was able to move in the pocket laterally and front to back. I mean, his pocket presence was real nice, and the offensive line gave him a lot of time this week, which was great. He was able to find the lanes, make things happen, and like you guys were talking about with Graham, he's figured out how to throw to him. He's finally figured out that it doesn't matter if he's covered or not. I can throw it up in the air in a particular area where he's the only guy that can get to it, and he's going to come down with the ball a lot of times.
Yeah,
Dustin, really quick, building off one thing you said about Wilson's pocket presence, one of the best things about having an interior line that's playing so well right now is just when the pass rush is coming from the ends, Wilson has the ability to climb the pocket and step into the deep throws, find the receivers. So, I mean, once he gets healthy, being able to scramble back there, that's going to come back to him. But just being able to step up into the pocket and not have to bail out so much.
Yes,
is
that
huge.
touchdown throw, when he stepped up, I just knew. When you saw Russell take a step forward and cock back that arm, this is going to be good. I don't know where it's going, but I don't even know it's going to be a touchdown. But something's good going to come out of this, and that was that touchdown.
You're talking about McAvoy.
Yes,
McAvoy.
Where he stepped up in that pocket, and when the minute he took a step forward, I said, "Oh, this is beautiful." I don't know where it's going, but it's going to be awesome. And
he kind of stepped under a sack and stepped up for the throw. Yeah,
yes,
that was nice.
That was beautiful. And Jimmy Graham, what can I say? He is Jimmy Graham. This is the guy that we traded a pick for. This is the guy that is the final, in my opinion, the final piece of this offense. You got the running attack of Russell Wilson and Christian Michael, and when Rawls gets healthy, and you have a really good running attack. You have guys like Doug Baldwin and Curse and Lockett that can go deep, and now you got this guy up the middle that's going to turn a 3-yard catch into a 20-yard gain. Just spectacular, and he looks completely healed. I couldn't be happier.
That's what I was just going to say. He's proven that he's more than healthy. You know, he's taking some shots on that, and he jumped right up, no hesitation, and going out there and making a play again the next down. So, he's on it.
And I think we're just seeing the very beginning. Two straight weeks of 6 catches, 100 yards. I think those numbers are only going to increase during the year. Defensively, Dustin, Mark said the defense played lights out. What are your thoughts defensively about this game against the Jets?
Defensively, yeah, they were good. I mean, they gave away, they gave up 10 points. I mean, they gave up 17, but I mean, that last touchdown really, that was just kind of a fluke there. And that actually was one of my favorite moments of the game was when the Earl Thomas was like, his arm was moving forward.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was great stuff.
Into the ref's mic. But, overall, they were great. And that battle with Sherman and Marshall was awesome.
It was. It was.
Sherman was getting the worst of it in the first half, even though I think Marshall only caught like 3 passes in the first half, but he got the touchdown, and I think it was 70-something yards. But second half, Sherman comes out there and just was Sherman again. He had the one penalty, but overall he played pretty well. 2 interceptions. I mean, he went in at halftime, figured things out, came out, battled, and I think he got the better deal. He upended or performed better than Marshall did overall in the end because that how he came out in the second half. The 2 turnovers were huge, and he could have had a third, but apparently the ball hit the ground. So.
Well, it was kind of a win-win. They both 2 guys going at it. I think, you could say that Marshall definitely won the first half, and you could say that Sherman won the second half, but it was 2 guys going at it. I kind of felt that was going to happen, and I'll tell you why. There was a stretch a couple years ago when this team was just starting to become who they are, and Sherman, it was in that 2-year stretch where he called, Calvin Johnson. He said he was whatever on this Decepticon or whatever.
Megatron,
right?
Yeah,
and then
he
Sherman
called himself
said what
Optimus
he was.
Prime.
Optimus Prime, right. When that all happened, Sherman and the defense, because obviously Sherman was on one side, but they were shutting down everybody. But the one guys they didn't shut down, and that 2-year stretch to me, was Brandon Marshall of the Bears. If you remember that game, that was that overtime game. And I think Brandon had like 10 catches for 100 yards in that game. And I thought he was the only guy in that 2-year stretch that I felt really owned us. And so I was worried about this Jets game just because of that history. I thought, man, Brandon Marshall kind of balls against us pretty good. And so I wasn't all that surprised, but it could have gone either way. It was fun to watch, you're right. It was 2 players. I think both players would say they had a good day. I mean, I think that's fair.
Overall, they both did, no doubt.
Yeah.
But Hawks got the win, though, so Sherman wins.
Yeah, well, exactly. Will, anything we miss on the defense? I mean, got some pressure going?
Pressure was good. One of the things I've enjoyed this year is Bobby Wagner has really developed into a good blitzer.
Yes.
Had a great sack on Fitzgerald at one point. And we're also getting pressure with our front 4, too. I mean, I think Bennett I was glad to see Bennett get a sack after that cheap shot. Headbutt.
Winter,
Actually knocked Winters out of the game and out for this week, too. So, justice is served.
Yeah.
But,
a lot of karma in that game because then you had the pass interference, and then that was maybe or maybe not pass interference, and then Sherman got an INT on the very next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're on pace as a defense for 48 sacks, which is actually more than we had in our Super Bowl year. So
wow.
That's a good development if we can keep that up.
It is, and we'll probably talk more of that in the third quarter. We talk about the team overall after 4 games, where they're at offensively and defensively. But another great performance by this defense. The only downside I think of this whole defense, there's 2 things really. Well, the play where they stopped playing, that was a fumble. But also to me, this dump pass thing where they're allowing that, they're dropping back and they're letting that guy on 3rd and 8 come out of the backfield and catch the ball and get a first down. That is concerning to me. But
they did switch that up on the fly though. That last they burned us on one drive in the third quarter, and then the very next third down, you saw that they had Cassius Marsh kind of spying the back coming out of the backfield. So that's something to keep an eye on. But it's nice to see that they could adapt.
Yes, agreed.
You got to do that. I understand the keep everything in front of you, and they like to play zone a lot of times, but sometimes you gotta adjust like they did and take away that other threat, because a lot of times the running back is going to leak out and he's going to get open like that against those zones that the Seahawks run, or like we have issues with a lot of times the tight end, and it's all underneath across the front or out in the flat with the running back. So if they can just shore that up maybe a little earlier in the game, that'd be preferable.
Yeah, and they may start doing that and mix it up a little bit, because that's become kind of a go-to for a lot of teams against us.
It has, and the blitz thing is kind of cool too. Like Will was talking about having some effective blitzes with Bobby Wagner.
Yes,
because they don't like to blitz a lot. Obviously,
no, they
like to go mostly pressure with 4 guys.
Yep.
But I've noticed last couple games here and there a little bit more and more they're rushing or they're blitzing with 1 guy, so there'll be 5 going at. And then even a couple times last game, they had 6 guys going blitzing. I was like, I like the aggressiveness. We got to keep that up.
Yeah, I do too. Speaking of keeping that up, something that we always keep up at the end of the game to kind of put a cap on everything is we have a Caption That Picture. Time for Caption That Picture. This picture is
sponsored by Viagra.
Oh, dude. Sponsored by Viagra. Now, this is a picture of Pete Carroll. He's on our Caption That Picture a lot, but how can you not have this guy on there? He seems to be very animated on the sidelines, and this is a very animated picture. So Matt is not here. So instead of Matt, how about Will? Hey, Will,
Yes.
do me a favor and caption that picture.
Russell made it through in one piece. Yes.
Excellent.
I know that was my reaction to that game.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt.
Dustin, caption that picture.
Pete Carroll's busy schedule made his prostate exam very awkward this week.
Oh.
Looks like that dude behind him is doing some business. I'm not sure what's happening.
I almost went there, but I didn't. I have two, and one you kind of already did. I said, why did the Viagra have to kick in right now? And then finally, yes, touchdown. I wet him. All right.
Worth it.
Yeah. All right, it's time for a 2-minute warning.
Holy shit, it's a 2-minute warning.
2-minute warning, as always. We check in with our posse prediction challenge. As you know, the posse is going up against 5 other people that have been on the show and Team 12, and we're totaling the scores, and we're having a challenge. First on the scores last week, a point to Jose. He got the closest, 26-16, 27-17. Excellent, Jose. Way to go. That's a great prediction. The prognostication, 3 points for Little Mo, Mike Pascal, and Mark Ty Turner. Game ball, 2 points for Little Mo, Tom, Jose, and Mark Ty Turner. The over-under, 2 points for Little Mo, Tom, and Jose. There's a pattern. We scores for this week.
Sensing one.
Scores for this week, Little Mo won the week again with 7 points. Mark Ty Turner at 5, Tom and Jose at 4, Mike Pascal at 3. Guess what? Those are the 5 guys on the other team.
Well, this game's dumb anyway, so I don't even care if we win.
And our 5 guys, which is myself and Dustin and Will and Matt and Sassman Mark, 0. Which means through 4 games, Dustin, who was leading, commanding lead, is now behind, and the people in first that are tied are Jose and Little Mo. That's right, you heard me, Little Mo. 10-year-old Little Mo is leading 8 other people, 8 other grown-ups in his predictions through 4 games. Jose and Little Mo at 19, Dustin still at 18, Tom at 16, Mark Ty Turner 15, Mike Pascal 10, then comes the rest of us. Matt and Will at 9, Statsman and Mark at 8, Moses at 4. Scores through Team 4, team scores through Week 4, Team 12, 79, Team Posse 48. So,
we're going to get fired, aren't we?
Yeah, 31 points. Well, there have been inquiries, but I will go on record by saying that I stand by Team Posse, and I will follow Team Posse to the end because...
You're in a boat going down with Team Posse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just like the Cleveland Browns do every year. All right.
I left my sports almanac in the back of a DeLorean, which was a mistake, apparently.
These things happen.
Marty, you can't do that, Marty. That's my crazy mad sign. Marty, stop it up, Marty.
Great Scott.
I know this is heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy. Speaking of heavy, we've got halftime coming up.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Heavy halftime. So much more show for you. How will we survive the bye week? What's that clicking noise? Where have all the heroes gone? Yes, all these answers and so much more just around the corner. But first, another edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia coming up next.
Hey, this is Matt from merry old England, and I am the current reigning halftime trivia champion. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go and polish my trophies.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, and welcome to another edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
Of the world!
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Will and Dustin, And here are the rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. All right, gentlemen, you have the rules. Because there are 2 of you, there are 6 questions, 3 questions around, but what we're going to do is we're going to head and just let's do them all in one section. And somebody's going to be odd. Somebody's going to be even, of course. Every 3 questions, there are 2 questions out there that are not exactly football related. And as I'm looking at it, just to check... Oh, no. Yeah, just to check. Unfortunately, somebody's going to get 2 questions that are not football related, but that's the way it goes.
But are instinct related, so.
They are no, I didn't say that. Okay, the topic is actually this season, this whole season. 4 questions, 4 games, so a question each game, and then 2 other questions actually about our show. So, let's see. Okay. Will, are you odd or even?
I am fairly odd.
Will's going to be odd. Dustin, you're going to be even.
Even Stevens.
All right, Will. Number 1. Here you go. In the Seahawk game against the Dolphins, how many penalties did the Seahawks have? How many penalties did the Seahawks have against the Dolphins? Was it 7 penalties? Was it 8 penalties? Or 9 penalties? And there's the bargain for you!
Ask the kids.
Ask the kids. He goes right to the kids. Mosette said 7. Little Mo said 9.
I was thinking 9 beforehand, so I'm going to go with that.
Go with Little Mo and 9. Mosette said 7. You're all wrong. It was 8.
See, he's just trying to sabotage me so he can win Twitter, too. Win trivia, too.
Yep.
That's what it is. You wait till you see him when we come up this week. You have to deal with him. All right. Dustin.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, you have the evens, and 2 of them are not going to be football questions, and this is one of them.
I'm not good at football questions anyway. So.
It doesn't matter. It's about our show, and I know you never miss our show, so you'll get this. Number 2 is this. Who has been on our show the most out of these 3 people? Northern Hawk Andy, Tom Lucas, or Mike Pascal? Who's been on our show the most? Northern Hawk Andy, Tom Lucas, or Mike Pascal?
I'll say Tom Lucas.
He's going to say Tom Lucas.
I vote for Matt.
Mosette said Northern Hawk Andy. Little Mo said Mike Pascal. You said Tom Lucas? No.
Oh, man.
It was Andy 6 times. Tom at 4 and Mike at 3. I think Mosette just said that because when he came down to my house for the Colts game, he slept in her bed. So, yeah. So anyway,
Interesting.
well, she was at her mother, her grandma and grandpa's house at the time. So
thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, I'm gonna clarify that. Number 3 for Will. Will, in the Seahawk game against the 49ers, how long was Carlos Hyde's longest run? Was it 31, 33, or 34 yards? Carlos Hyde's run against the Seahawks. Longest, 31, 33, or 34?
I'll go 34.
He goes 34. Little Mo and Mosette said 33. You say 34? Yeah. Good job, 34.
I'm sure that one I get.
Yeah, that's easy, right? So Will's on the board as we go to question 4 to Dustin. Dustin, this is your only football question of the rounds. In the Seahawk game against the Rams, Dustin, who caught the longest pass of the day? Longest pass of the day. Was it Tavon Austin, Lance Kendricks, or Tyler Lockett?
Well, I'll say Tyler Lockett. His was like 50-something yards.
All right. His was how many?
It's 50-something.
50-something? Okay. Well, Little Mo said Lance Kendricks. Remember he had that pitch, that one down the sidelines?
I choose to ignore that.
That's good because you got it right. 53 yards for Lockett, 44 for Kendricks, and 27 for Austin. So you are both on the board.
Can I just say I feel bad for Dustin? He's got 2 non-football questions, and the only football one is about the Rams game.
I know. What the heck?
Nice job. Yeah, I don't know. What the heck. Here's your last one, Will. And number 5, in the Seahawk game against the Jets, how long was John Ryan's longest punt? Because we know you keep track of these things. 56, 58, or 59 yards. John Ryan's punt against the Jets.
Sorry, what were the options again?
56, 58, or 59 yards.
I'll try 59. What the heck?
What the heck? Go long or go home, right?
Yep.
Mosette said 56. Little Mo said 58. You said 59. Yeah, you should have gone with Mosette. 56. Dustin can take the lead.
Woo-hoo.
Here you go, Dustin. Get excited.
I'm excited.
Of course, it's a non-football question. Who won the first ever halftime trivia on this show? First time we ever did halftime trivia. Who won it? Was it Dustin, Will, or Matt?
I'm kind of a homer. I'm gonna say Dustin.
You're gonna say Dustin?
Yeah.
Mosette and Lil Mo said Matt.
Even though I know it's not true.
You said Dustin. Yeah, it wasn't you. It was Matt. Surprise!
Yeah.
Gee, what a shock.
All right. We're tied up, which means the final question will be a winner. It is it's high-low, obviously. The closest one without going over gets it. If you're both over, whoever's closest gets it. And we will go Will and Dustin. So here we go. Will, here it is. In the first 4 games of the season, how many total yards have the Seahawks put up in their offense for the first 4 games of the season? Total yardage for 4 games combined, Will.
I'm going to go with 1,087.
1,087. Dustin, how many total yards have the Seahawks put up in their first 4 games this season?
I'll say 1,100.
You'll say 1,100.
I will. I just did.
You will, and you just did. Well, that we have a winner. We do have a winner. The total number, I know you're shocked, we have a winner. The total number of yards the Seahawks put up in their first 4 games this season is 1,430.
Whoa,
Look out! He wishes he was taller. He wishes he was a baller. And
I wish I had more faith in our offense.
He was a champion.
Yeah, me too.
Man.
Dang, how many yards did we get in these last 2?
That's a
been
lot.
A bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. Because 300 would be, well, 300 is not very good. But 300 for 4 games would be 1,200, so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we did a lot worse in the first 2. I guess not.
Yeah.
So did I.
And for the record, defensively, they give up 1,056, which is not bad either. That's like really low.
See,
anyway,
now, if you just asked that question, I would have won.
I'm not going to do the math. This isn't math. We're not doing math here. We're here to play a game, and congratulations, Dustin.
Yeah, 5-time champion, just throwing it out there.
Yes, number 5. You got the 5th one for the thumb. Another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of your 12-man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. We'll be back with the second half of this show after a quick station identification and another edition of Mark's Remarks.
You're listening to the 12-man Fan Jam Show on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
And now the 12-man Fan Jam Show proudly presents another installment of Statsman Mark's Remark.
Hey everybody, it is time for another remark from the Statsman, and week 5, bye week. And you know, I mentioned earlier that the timing of this bye could not have come at a better time, because we got some dinged up players, folks, and they definitely need some rest. Thank goodness, too, that we didn't have some messed up Thursday night football game thrown in the first quarter of the season, so we'd have to plan 4 days rest with these gimpy guys. But, man, the heart and soul of this team is so impressive. That's really what comes to mind after 4 weeks. The Rams, we'll solve that puzzle here pretty shortly, but 3 solid wins, you know, and we're looking good moving forward. We are easily one of the top teams in the conference, if not in the league. There's no clear-cut powerhouse that's just destroying people. Last year was Carolina. It turned out to be a house of cards there. And boy, speaking of the Cards, nice segue, and the Panthers, last year's conference championship game, those teams are hurting. And it is just, things are falling into place for us to compete for home field. So the Vikings are solid. They'll come back down to earth a little bit. But things, overall the forecast is good. And it's nice to have the bye come now, get our guys healthy. And then, again, I'm counting down the days for my first game up in Seattle in 9 years.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Welcome to the third quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam show. You! Yes, you behind the clean shed! Stand still, laddie! Like or comment the video as well. Please join Facebook. Join us on Facebook, the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page, for some fun and some game day threads. Email us at 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. Tweet us, the Seahawk Positivity. Do all this. Make us all part of your Seahawk fix. Do it now! And don't let them keep you down. All right. This quarter is where we usually talk about the upcoming game, but we don't have an upcoming game. And why don't we have an upcoming game? It's bye week, baby! So, as Instinct's pointing out, they don't want to be a fool for you. We're not doing the next game yet. We'll do that next week. So we're going to talk about the season so far for the Seahawks. And Will, when you look at defensively, a lot of people are saying Pete Carroll made quite a buzz by saying it's the best defense that he's ever had. I can't really argue that the way they've been playing so far. But who stands out to you as like the defensive star? If you had an MVP on defense, who would it be?
Well, Moses, I mentioned him before, and I just feel the need to go back to Bobby Wagner. Not just because of his blitzing this year, which he's blitzed very well, but he's the defensive quarterback. He's calling out the signals. He's making sure everybody's in the right spot. He's coming up on run support. And I think he's having a much better – he had kind of a down year last year. I was kind of surprised at that, but this year it's just night and day. And if he continues to play at this level, he either will be or should be a first-team All-Pro. So it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch him direct this defense, and I hope he keeps it up.
I agree. Dustin, is there anybody defensively that maybe is flying under the radar that we should pay more attention to?
Flying under the radar?
Yeah.
I'd say Jaron Reed when he's in there.
I think so too.
Dude, he's been on it with run support. He's a big run stuffer. And rookie, and he's been doing pretty well. He's real super strong. He's been great addition to the defense. So overall, though, it's kind of weird. Wagner's having a great season, and I agree with Willie's probably had the best season of all the players, but it hasn't been flashy. It hasn't been a whole lot of flash. It's just consistent, solid play as a team, which is it's kind of nice to see.
I agree. I love the way Cam Chancellor's playing, especially after last year. I love the way he's playing.
Yeah.
And I also, Deshaun Shedd is making a lot of. He seems to make one or two beautiful plays a game. Now, I also know you could probably argue he's probably getting beat a few times, but man, that kid makes a couple great plays every game. He reminds me of Byron Maxwell, because it seemed to me like Byron Maxwell always made like one or two great plays a game when he was on the other side.
And he's a bigger version of him, but they have the same kind of knack to be able to knock the ball out after it's in the receiver's hands.
Yeah.
So if they're not in position to actually bat the ball down, they're able to swat it out of his hands, let the guy get the ball in his hand, but then knock it out by the time he hits the ground. He did that last game. Had a real nice play like that. He's been real nice since he came up. He was undrafted free agent, was special teams guy that played really well, and now starting cornerback who's coming into his own. So it's fun to watch that evolution.
Yeah, I agree. Well, offensively, this team has really come to its own the last couple games after really looking bad in the Rams game and thinking, poor Russell's going to get, destroyed this season. They've really come along. There are a lot of guys, obviously, on that team. Kristen Michael, we thought Will said this last week. I know Will mentioned last week my guy, Kristen Michael. He didn't even think he was going to make the team, and now he's an intricate part of the running game. He's having a great year. We talked about Jimmy Graham the last couple of weeks has been almost unstoppable, but it all goes through number 3. I don't know how you could possibly say anybody offensive star of this team, and maybe MVP of not just this team, but if you had you could argue right now MVP of the league is number 3. I don't think there's any doubt Russell Wilson, with the way he's performed while injured, and those injuries that would take people out for 2, 3, 4 games, he's coming back and not just playing, but playing lights out. It's been spectacular, Will.
Oh, yeah. Just the fact that he's been playing. I mean, we saw the high ankle sprain. We all thought, yeah, right, okay, Russell, you're going to have to sit for a week. Nope.
That takes a lot of people out for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. And, yeah, sure, he had a foot of tape around each ankle the next week and was clearly not himself, but he came out and played.
Yes.
And then you watch the replays of that horse collar tackle in the San Francisco game, and you get sick to your stomach thinking, oh, great, how long is he going to be out? He not only comes out and plays this week, but he puts together a ridiculously good performance doing it.
Yes. It's spectacular, Dustin. He, worth every penny. We've always known how mentally tough Russell Wilson is, but this year we're seeing how physically tough, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I said, that injury, the high ankle sprain, when I heard that, I thought, crap, there goes the season. Because, like I said, a lot of guys, they're out for 6 weeks when that happened. I mean, look at Ifedi. He had a high ankle sprain. How long was that guy gone?
Yeah.
I mean, and Russell's a guy that relies on his legs. He needs, the perception is he needs wheels to be successful, but he's obviously proven that wrong because he hasn't had them, but he's been able to be quite successful the last couple games. He just, like you were saying, he's put himself right in the MVP conversation so far this season, and he's done it in ways that people say he couldn't do it because he's too short and he's just not that guy. He's not accurate as a pocket passer.
Yeah.
He's proven all of them wrong, and it's wonderful.
Oh, I agree. Just a great story this year from Russell Wilson. Overall, 3-1 guys. This team has put itself in a great position, tied with the Rams for first place. Although argue the Rams would be in first place because of head-to-head, which I understand. But record-wise, tied for them at first. You've got the Cardinals now at 2-3. You've got the 49ers at 1-4. They're really in good position right now, aren't they?
They are, and the defense is going to get a bit more of a challenge because they're going up against some more high-powered offenses in the Falcons, Saints, guys like that. But while the offenses we faced haven't been that good, we've gone up against 3 of the best defensive lines in the league.
Yes.
In the first 4 games. Yeah, we played San Francisco, too. Let's forget about that. But considering the biggest question mark on this team was the offensive line, to go up against the opponents we have and be 3-1 going into the bye week was a huge accomplishment. I would have been satisfied just getting there at 2-2, but 3-1, especially with the Cardinals floundering a bit, is a big deal.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dustin, we miss anything about talking about the season so far? It's only been 4 games, but it's been a really good 4 games.
I don't think so, man. I mean, offense, they're coming alive, and it's awesome to see the chemistry that Russell has with Jimmy Graham. The offensive line is looking like it's coming together. I think Ifedi was just that piece they needed, man, because you heard about him all camp, how he had this attitude, and he had like this, I guess you can call it swag about him, and he wasn't bowing down to defensive lines. He got in fights with Michael Bennett several times. I mean, it sounds like he's a guy that might be that attitude that the offensive line needed, and he might be the rookie, but the leader that they need to, toughness-wise, to jump on board and be like, okay, we can follow this guy. Let's follow his lead, do what he's doing. And then Britt being over there, he was a guy who was essentially on the scrap heap. You heard 3 positions in 3 years, and you're like, this dude, no way he sticks around after the season. But he solidified that position, and him and Ifedi next to each other is looking like it's going to be a huge asset going forward. And like you guys are saying, we've already played 3 of the best defensive lines in the league. So it's only going to get easier for those guys as we go along. So it's sky's the limit right now, guys. Sky is the limit.
I agree, and I'm so happy for Justin Britt that, I was a little apprehensive. Oh, he's playing center. Oh, they're moving him a 3rd spot. And, of course, the offensive line as a whole looked really bad those first 2 games. And I thought, wow, this is just a train wreck. But they've really gelled together well, and hopefully they'll continue. They've got 2 more weeks to season up for a really big game against the Falcons at home. Should be a lot of fun one. We'll be there, of course. We'll have our live show from there, and it should be a really, really exciting game. But we'll talk about that next week. Right now, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Coming up, we're going to play a little game called Truth or Crap. You're listening to the 12 Man Fan Jam Show. It's the show your mother warned you about. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, everybody. This is Statsman Mark. And when I'm not listening to Charo's greatest hits on 8-track tape, I'm listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Yes, it's time for the fourth and final quarter of this episode of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Did that for Matt. He's not here. But Matt, there you go. Hey! Speaking of there you go, it's time to have another wonderful top three. Yes!
Yay.
Yes, our top three. Yes. From our office is located in the NSYNC tour bus comes the top three things for Seahawk fans to do on the bye week. That's right, it's the bye week. And we are looking for things to do. If you're looking for things to do, you're bored, I hope you're listening to the show as part of that waste of time before the Falcons game. And on Sunday, you don't have a game to watch. And you have stuff to do. You get reacquainted with your family and your friends. You listen to this show. I'm going to give you three more things Seahawk fans can do in the bye week. Number three, you can remind Golden Tate he plays for the Lions. I think he needs to be reminded of that all the time while he's sipping his tea. Number two, you can make fun of the Carolina Panthers because, they're kind of struggling and you might make Cam cry. But the number one thing the Seahawk fans can do in the bye week, send sympathy cards to the Cleveland Brown fans. Because remember how happy they were, Will, when you did your story last week about how happy the Browns fans are?
They're happy?
They're happy. The Browns, remember, they were, woo, yay, we're happy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. Remember, always look on the bright side of life? Okay.
Yeah,
Speaking of the bright side of life, we'll be moving on to something called Truth or Crap. Here's how you play this. Each of us has a story, or has a sentence, I should say, and then the other people will have 60 seconds to ask what they want, decipher, talk about it, and then they have to come up with whether it's truth or it's crap. So I will start. Mine is rather simple. I had the opportunity to shake hands with Pete Carroll once. All right, gentlemen. I shook hands with Pete Carroll.
When was this?
It was at the EMP grand opening, the VIP grand opening of the 12-man exhibit.
What year?
It was the year that we came up, Little Mo. They played the Cowboys. What was that, 2015? No, 14. 2014. We watched them lose to the Cowboys, and then that Tuesday we went in, and everyone was there. Paul Allen and Pete Carroll and McLaughlin and Mike Flood and everybody. But I was able to shake hands with Pete Carroll.
Okay. How tall did he look to you?
He actually not that tall. I was kind of surprised. It was cute though because it must have been his grandbaby. I think he just had a grandbaby that year. And he was dancing over in the corner with her, so he didn't want to bother him. But then he came over and got autographs, and Little Mo got his autograph, and I just shaked his hand, and I said, "Thank you, Coach." And he smiled and said, "Thank you," and moved on. And I was just like, oh, I melted. But all right, time to decide. Will, truth or crap?
Crap. I think it was John Schneider.
All right, Dustin?
I have one more question before.
Sure.
There was a line, I'm guessing, for everybody to go in there and meet those people?
It wasn't that crowded.
No?
There weren't that many people there.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and say true.
Okay. No, it's crap. But,
No.
well, here's why. Because he was kind of being rushed off by people, and Little Mo got his autograph. Little Mo has got his autograph, Paul Allen's autograph, Schneider's got autograph, McLaughlin's autograph. They were all there, and I would rather my little 10-year-old go up and get an autograph than bother the coach. You know what I mean? So I got Little Mo up there to do it. And of course, he loved seeing, at the time Mo was 8. And, see a little 8-year-old walk up with his book, and he signed it and shook his hand. And I didn't really say anything. I just said, "Thank you, Coach." And he smiled and waved, and they were kind of pushing him on, So I didn't really want to bother him. So, but Little Mo got an autograph and got to talk to him. And man, him and Schneider was like oogling all over Mo. It was awesome. Nice. But anyway, not true. I did not shake hands with Pete Carroll, but I was close enough to, and I just didn't do it. All right, Will, what's your truth or crap?
Well, one day when hanging out with the usual Seahawk crew, Chad Eaton comes roaring up in his motorcycle. Neil, formerly known as Kiltman, said, "Hey, it's Brian Bosworth." And Eaton shot him a look like, "I'm going to kill you."
Nice.
I love that story. Gotta hope that's
story.
True. You and the crew were out. Now, where were you?
We were in the parking garage next to the exhibition center. This was after the uniform unveiling in 2002 that I was very privileged to attend.
Okay. Now, did he actually stop and stare at Neil and then move on, or?
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. Dustin, you got a question?
No, I just hope it's true.
You know what? I'm going to go with it too, man, because if it isn't, I'm going to be very disappointed. But I say it's true. Well, what's up?
Well, good news, bad news. It's not true. But Brad Cannonball Carter said, "Hey, it's Brian Bosworth." And Eaton just thought it was Neil.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
But yeah, if you remember, Eaton was one of the players that was modeling the new uniforms and helmets. And we were getting ready to leave, and we're hanging out in the parking garage, and we hear this really loud roar, and Eaton just comes driving around in his motorcycle, and Brad said, "Yeah, hey, it's Brian Bosworth." And Eaton seriously thought Neil had said it. And we were like, "Oh dear, this is going to get ugly."
Oh no. Oh, Brad, that is beautiful. I can totally see that happening too. I've got it in my mind. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I thought it was maybe true, because I remember Eaton was one of the ones modeling.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, that happened. I know he modeled the new uniforms, and so I could see you guys being there. I could see that happening, but Brad saying that and he thought it was Neil. That's even funnier. What about you, Dustin? What's your truth or crap?
Well, I'm gonna go with this.
Uh-oh.
There's just so many. My father-in-law did the home inspection for Matt Hasselbeck's house in Eastern Washington.
Oh, okay. All right. He did the house inspection, you say?
I say so.
You say so?
I say so.
Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
All right. Did he get the? I don't know anything about. They just walk in the house and they look around and they give a price for it. Is that what they do when they do that?
No, they make sure everything's up to code. They go through and they inspect how it's been being built, and everything's up to code. And if there's any changes to be made, he's the guy that says, "Hey, you have to change this before you can move on to the next phase."
So in other words, he had to walk with Matt Hasselbeck through the house.
The contractor.
Oh, the contractor. Okay. Did he ever meet
house.
Matt?
Don't know. I don't know.
Okay. But he knew, like someone told him, "Hey, this is Matt Hasselbeck's house," or.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Where exactly was the house?
Over in Eastern Washington, between Wenatchee and Lake Chelan.
Wow. Well, that's kind of interesting, because I'm gonna go truth on this. I think there's something to this. I'm saying truth, Will.
I know Hasselbeck has a house over there because I think he lived near Josh Brown at one point, but I'm going to say crap.
Right next door, actually. And the story's true.
No!
It is true, okay.
It is true, yeah. Their houses are actually literally right next door to each other.
Awesome.
I don't know if Josh still owns his, but Matt does.
That's awesome.
I hope Matt didn't have to call the cops on Josh Brown.
Yeah, no doubt. And then Small World's kind of funny. There's a person I work with who her fiance, her fiance's parents actually live in that same neighborhood with Matt Hasselbeck and Josh Brown's houses.
Nice.
Yeah, small world.
Very small world. Very cool. I love stuff like that. See, that's what Truth and Crap is about. That's what our show's about. But sadly, guys, it's time to bring this wonderful and amazing 12-man Fan Jam show to a sad close, if I can speak. Which I don't know if I can.
He's too sad to speak, folks.
Too sad to speak.
Yeah, he just can't get it out.
We're glad you decided to waste some time with us. We certainly hope you laughed a little. Maybe you learned a little something along the way. What did we learn? We learned that some referees need a remote mute on their mic. Some referees need a remote mute button for their mic. We learned that if you're in Washington, you need to be somebody. And we learned that Cannonball can get your ass kicked by a former defensive lineman. So, on behalf of my partner in crime who's not here, Matt, we miss you. Our newshound, Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, Dustin as the Beaver, Roger Goodell, Mosette, Little Mo, NSYNC, Buddy Hackett, Sheila McRae, Art Carney. Good night, everybody, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Just like NSYNC says, bye, bye, bye.